Hey guys, welcome back. I don't know why it feels like a little bit awkward filming today. I feel very rusty, even though I only skipped 1 week on YouTube. And I'm sorry I didn't have a video for you last week, but I'll get into a little bit of why. But today I wanted to do some much overdue maintenance on my grow tent, which has been always teetering on the edge of like way too full, overgrown. Right now, it's just not looking very good. I have kind of let my collection go in a sense. And again, I will go into the reasons why a little bit later. And it's nothing like super juicy or anything. So if you're waiting for some like hot tea, it's not coming. So don't worry about that. I don't know how this video is going to go, but I know I do have a goal for what I want to accomplish today. And that is to cut back a lot of the unhealthy leaves, ugly leaves, mainly to make room for plants to grow, because right now it's like so overgrown that like plants are growing on top of each other, leaves aren't able to expand properly. And I know that cutting leaves back aren't necessarily healthy for the plant itself and may kind of stunt the growth a little bit, but it's for my own sanity. And while we're doing that, maybe if there's some plants I may be saying goodbye to, I might pull those aside to either sell or give away. I might also pull some plants out that no longer need to live in the tent and move them somewhere else. But the main goal at the end is I want to be able to have some negative space between plants so that they can fill it back out this growing season. And while I'm doing that, I thought maybe we can discuss a little bit about plant burnout, when you feel like your collection has kind of exceeded your capacity to take care of it, whether you're going through something or you've amassed too big of a collection and your lifestyle has changed and you don't know what to do to keep up with the upkeep, because I'm definitely going through that right now. And I thought maybe it'd be helpful for someone to see it like being worked through in real time. I also need to do the same thing to everything back here and this shelf over here, but we're not gonna be able to get to that today. So we're just gonna focus on the tent today. So I think this is gonna be a fairly chilled out video. I'm going to approach this the same way as I do when I tidy, like deep clean something. You got to take everything out, make a huge giant mess, and then put it back in. And not everything will need to be cut back. Some things are absolutely fine on their own. They're quite small and they can fit right back in. So I think this will be somewhat of a mixture of like show and tell and a little bit of like plant maintenance. So I want to start with the bottom layer of the tent, which is like the most massively overgrown. It's going to be really hard to see just because of the size of this room. There's not a lot of room that way. Ideally, I think you would be like over here facing the tent straight on, but I think this might be the best angle we can get. Sometimes I think back on when my tent, like this layer specifically, was all seedlings and there was just like dozens of like little tiny pots. They were like this size of plants, and they're just all neatly here. And looking at it now, it's so massively overgrown. It's like a mixed feeling of like a bittersweet feeling of like pride of that me growing plants to flowering size, kind of semi-maturity, and also just like, what am I going to do with this? So I'm just going to start pulling things out, and if there's anything notable, I will show you along the way. My Spider Ralph man put out a gorgeous leaf. Look at that. And this plant doesn't give me leaves very often. It's actually a pretty slow grower for me, but when it does put out a leaf, it's so like it has that Bessie AF color shift, holographic, purples, blues, greens, reds, and it's just so delightful. But I'm pretty happy with the size on it. It did size up from the last leaf, which would have been this ugly one here. Actually, I need to get my shears. So this would be a prime candidate of chopping basically all the old leaves off and just keeping the one nice leaf. We're going to start a nice little pile of leaves here. Here is an example of a plant that does not need anything done to it. Oh my gosh, this new leaf is so cute. This is me and Charmaine's hybrid. So this is Red Crystal Port by King of Spades. This leaf has not quite finished hardening off yet, so it's still a little bit floppy. But I'm really happy with how it's sized up. Like this last leaf was this size, and now we're here. I did go quite boat mode on it. I went from something like this size up to this size. And I think this will be able to stay in this size pot at least through to the summer, but this one has just been like super easy going. Here's another one that is doing pretty well. Also put out a gorgeous leaf. This is my Carla Lux. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. This one I recently-ish repot. I want to say maybe it wasn't even that recent, but it was just a few videos ago. I did this on camera and it has been rooting out really well. This is one of those anthurium that did not mind the sea soil in the tree fern soil. which I did a whole bunch of videos on recently about like, I don't think sea soil was the best, but I'm just cutting off some ugly leaves, just cleaning it up slightly and just giving the old leaves a little bit of a wipe down. I'm just using water, by the way. You didn't see any of that, but these are the 3 leaves I have left on the plant. Obviously the new leaf, which is absolutely disgustingly beautiful. And then 2 of the next most recent leaves, this one and this one, which are all wiped down. You know what I possibly need is like some sort of little work surface so you can see what I'm doing as I'm doing it. Just gonna use a good old fashioned soil bin. This one and also my Woo One Self Carla. I feel like there's this like kind of dusty looking powdery mildew stuff that I'm hoping, like I've said this in the past, I'm hoping to combat this. You know what? I best just cut off. So I'll just show you what I'm talking about. This might be hard to see because it's kind of wet, but do you see all this like dusty stuff? I'm pretty sure that's fungal. I'm just gonna cut off all the old leaves actually now that this plant is rebounding. But yeah, I'm seeing if I can possibly fix the fungal issues without using antifungal. And that's just by working on the root health, making sure that everything gets re-inoculated with micro if they haven't been inoculated recently, and also making sure I get CalMag. I don't know about silica because I don't know if it has worked for me in the past, but just that idea of strengthening cell walls so they're not so susceptible to fungal attack, that's the route that I'm gonna go for now. Even though I know antifungal will work, but I want to see for myself if just working on the plant health will make the fungal stuff go away. But I don't really know. It's like some of these plants look so bad. You're going to see them later. I guess I should kind of start by addressing like the issues I've been having with my collection. So an ongoing theme of the last few months worth of videos is that I've been trying to diagnose issues with my plants, not really being 100% sure. Well, I mean, you can never be 100% sure at the best of times, but just kind of going through different hypotheses on what might be the issue. But really, what I think it is just that I haven't had the time nor the mental capacity to really be with my plants and really focus on them. I'm just going to be cutting leaves off. I'm not going to show every single plant to you because it's going to get really, really repetitive, but leaves like this just kind of fungally and gross. So I haven't been keeping this a secret per se. I just haven't really been talking about my gosh, personal life so much, just because I don't think I need to all the time, but I feel like this is relevant. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what's been going on. So late last year, I lost my grandmother. I did talk a little bit about like going through some grief at that time, and you guys were all very understanding and like not asking too many questions. And this was the first loss that I had of someone that was like very close to me. I'm not going to dwell too much on it. I don't want to bum you guys out, but that's what happened at the tail end of last year. And then a few months later, and this was maybe, oh my gosh, the timing of things is all getting a little bit blurry, but it was about a month and a half ago. We said goodbye to our senior dog, Rick, and he passed away due to cancer. So that was like another loss where it was like, this is a member of your household. So it was really, really odd adjusting. And I was still grieving for my grandmother at the time. And then 2 weeks ago, I lost my grandpa, who was the husband to the grandma who passed away. So that is the reason why I've been skipping uploads every now and then over the past few months. It was just kind of 5 months of grieving, which left almost no desire to do plant care. Kind of like they'll come and go, right? So there'll be days when I walk into my plant room and I see a new leaf, and usually that kind of thing brings me a lot of joy, and I like to just sit down and like I just lose myself in my plants. But sometimes just like, cool, don't care, like I don't care. And having gone through plant burnout in the past due to stress, stress from work and just exhaustion from work, this is different. In those times, I feel like more attracted. Like my plants can be an escape, and it's like a tranquility you get from plant care. When I'm dealing with grief, I don't want to do this. Like to me, this seems so trivial, and that's obviously not every day. Like there's good days and there's bad days. Today is a good day. I actually really want to be doing what I'm doing right now. I mean, it's probably kind of obvious, but the challenge is when you're grieving is just like not you don't have the space to care. Just really quick before I put this plant away, this is my red crystal Dreamweaver by Necromancer. It just put out a new leaf. It's not sizing up for me, unfortunately. It's in basically almost all tree fern with a little bit of perlite in it. It is growing roots, just not really sizing up, but the colors are getting a little bit more intense with every leaf, so I'm very excited about that. And while we're on the topic of red crystal, this is the one that I've been itching to cut back, and I've been saving it for this video. This is my NSC red crystal. This is the newest leaf that is still super floppy, and it's been growing into the side of the tent, and I'm afraid that it's already a little bit lopsided, but to prevent it getting more lopsided, I'm going to cut off all of its old leaves. Like this leaf in particular, this kind of like hangs over a whole bunch of like 5 different small plants that I can't even see, and it got a little bit wrecked. I think it was due to underwatering. Here's the thing. I've been hypothesizing on different plants, like looking a certain way. I think every plant has its own story in a way, of like what it might be struggling with or what it has been happy with, but I haven't been present enough to really know as certainly as I could have in the past. Does that make sense? Like, I know I'm not articulating myself very well, but in the past, I'd be visiting with my plants like every day. I'd be a lot more attentive to looking at the details, whereas in the past 5 months since all this started, I've just been kind of in like bare minimum survival mode. So I come in and water a little bit too late oftentimes. Like I just watered this tent 2 days ago and there were things that were so dry and I felt so bad, but that's just life right now. And I know I didn't really need to provide you guys with that kind of explanation for what's been going on with my life, but in a way I have touched on this in the past where I talked about, there's like a little fuzzy on my lip. I have touched on like, I don't remember what I said, but it was something along the lines of, in this year, I don't want to focus on plants as much. I have other priorities that are more important. I want to spend more time with my family. And then I think some people might have taken that to be like, oh, I don't care about plants as much anymore. And like I'm trying to transitioning out of the hobby, which is not the case, but is kind of the case, if that makes sense. Like I have things going on in my life that take precedence over the plants. I know that has been part of the reason why my collection has gone the way it has, because I haven't really been present with like kind of figuring out what a particular plant's issue has been and be able to diagnose and fix that one plant due to what I know has happened in its history, in its recent history. Like I know I underwatered it. I know I overwatered it after underwatering it. I can kind of take guesses. But anyway, I've been dying to cut this one back. This one's actually looking so pretty on camera. Usually the pinks don't show up very well, and I just want to show you the inflow. I don't know if most red crystal inflows look like this. I feel like it varies, but this one is so, like the peduncle, sorry if you can hear my phone vibrating. The peduncle is like burgundy. The spathe is like kind of olive with burgundy like running through it. And then the spadix is like a burgundy. It's like very monochromatic. And it looks a lot like Ace of Spades. Ace of Spades is like all kind of maroon kind of going up. This is a little bit more purpley color, but it's all one dark purpley red. It's so stinking pretty. And I'm pretty surprised at how big this spadix has turned out. I want to say this is maybe like the fourth flower, but this is a pretty dang big flower. As much as I would love to grow this outside in ambient, this one has always been a little bit of a princess, so I'm gonna leave it in the tent. So one thing I will say with burnout is that there's always gonna come a time when you fall behind on things, and that might not get you to the point of burnout per se, but if it happens for a long enough period of time, it can be maybe not burnout, but like you and your collection go through a rough patch with which then cycles on. Like there's a period of time, even after you're better and you're getting back in the swing of things, but the damages are done and it takes them a while to kind of get looking good again, which obviously can feel really discouraging when you're looking at your plants and feeling like you're a failure. By the way, looking at this leaf, I thought maybe there are bugs on it, but There's no damage or anything. So this is a plant that I showed kind of recently. This is Carlacuna Stripey X2. This one I was dealing with fungal stuff. So there were like little tiny dots that looked like ace pox almost, just like very defined little dots of just fungal spots all over it. I repotted out of sea soil, which I suspected was maybe possibly burning the plant and then kind of damaging the cells in the leaves, which made it susceptible to bacteria and fungi, like pathogenic fungi. So I cut those leaves off and I transferred it to tree fern perlite. I see like one teeny tiny hint of a root tip. So nothing to report on the roots yet, but the spots have not returned on the newest leaf, which it should have by now, according to leaves before, and it's putting out another leaf. So I know like sometimes we hypothesize about plants and we just like will it to be true. I kind of feel like that might have been the case. I don't know. And then also my Carla 1x16 is starting to size up, which is really encouraging. I was really surprised actually that this leaf got to this size. I know it's not big or anything, but the leaf before it got a little bit wonky, but this is it. And I was eagerly waiting for the next leaf because of this like really bursty burst of silver in the sinus and then the really thin veins. But I'm a little bit disappointed, I guess, that the veins are so bold everywhere on this new leaf. Like I was hoping for it to be really thick here and then thin here, but we'll see how it turns out. If I recall correctly, Carla RA16 is a thin vein Carla. If I recall, one of them is. I'm pretty sure it's 16 and not one, but this leaf is still pretty floppy. I think it will expand a little bit more. And this one was repotted from a mix of sea soil, tree fern soil, and Rory's mix into just tree fern perlite. And it has been rooting quite well in it over the last few weeks. Forgive me, by the way, if like my timing is all out of whack. I'm just taking my best guess at how long things have been. This is my Carla Black Widow Michelle, which still isn't looking great. But since this plant grows really compact, like it's just like a little shield, like a cylindrical in shape plant, I'm not gonna cut the leaves off just so I can give it as much of a fighting chance as possible. Because if I cut leaves back, I'm just giving it less opportunity to photosynthesize. So this one, I'm just gonna let it be a little ugly. But this one has rooted really well into tree fern perlite. Just show you some of the roots. These roots are really thin. And this plant has never grown a big, thick, juicy root for me, which I think is part of why it's a little bit on the delicate side. This plant is one of my hybrids I got from IS. It's from Paul. So this is a Pap AF by Carla PM6. This is the kind of thing where I'm like, I don't really know what happened. I can guess that it's a watering issue. It's most likely a watering issue, but this kind of thing, I don't know if it's going to show up in camera, but the leaf texture is really like paper thin, kind of crepey, and it's drying out, which leads me to believe that possibly I let it completely dry out and then I watered it really deeply and it kind of burst all the cells, like the edema damage on the, this leaf is like that too, but it's not yellowing yet, but it's like so, I don't know if you can see kind of how wrinkly and dried out it looks. At this point, I'm not going to dwell on it too much. I'm just going to clean the leaves up and hopefully this is kind of like a blank slate for me to then start to observe the plant from now on. Now we're on to the big plants, which I'm just going to show you. They are way too big for the spot that they're in, but I don't necessarily have a great spot for them. So I'm not sure if I'll definitely move them today. This new leaf was growing under a shelf, so it got a little bit like, it was like this. And this is almost touching the floor, but isn't it so pretty? This is my Meg Chris Carla. Just from the viewfinder, it's looking really, really dark, which is, I think, quite true to real life. It's super, super dark in person. And this one actually grows like right, like the grow light is right here. It's so close to the light, it's almost touching. So I'm really gonna cut this one back. There's just so much damage like this on my big plants, which hopefully we'll get to the bottom of one day. I just don't know if I have the capacity to think about it too much right now, but we're gonna start this one over a little bit. Now we have to decide, am I going to use this as a mother plant anytime soon? Let's go with no, right? When did I last cut it? I think I cut it before Christmas. I think it was maybe October when I cut it. And I was like, by cutting it, I won't be able to use it as a mother plant, but it's flowering with every leaf. Let's go with cleaning up. I'm so sorry. I cut off this big leaf, which wasn't even that bad. It just got, this thing sits on the tent floor like this. So anything, if there's water on the floor, it just gets dirty. I just think it's better this way. And it actually is flowering right now. I don't know if you can see a little inflow poking out right here. I will just use it as a pollen plant, if anything. And maybe I'll cut off this too. Yeah, okay. This one is a single leaf for now, but it's a beautiful single leaf. Don't get me wrong. It's freaking, oh my gosh, it's so stunning. Just seeing how many plants are in front of me right now, I'm actually shocked that they all fit into this tent. Okay, spiderweb city. Oh gosh, there's a dead spider on this plant. So this is my BVEP, my wonderful BVEP that I honestly find quite difficult to grow. This is a spiderweb covered leaf. Oh, there's a live, oh, there's like so many spiders in here. I feel like I showed you this new leaf. Did I not? And it was like so purple and the veins are so red. And I feel like that was a long time ago. And this plant is pretty much hardened off. Why is it so red still? All the leaves before it didn't stay this red for so long. Is it a maturity thing? I really don't know much about BVEPs because I haven't been very successful at growing it. Yeah, let's just leave it at that one yellowing leaf and we'll leave these 2 leaves on it because I'm just a little bit scared of this plant. I think this one is potted in sea soil, tree fern soil, just based on like the color and the kind of woody density of it. I think I might repot this. Maybe I will do it on camera, maybe I won't, but I will repot it into tree fern pond, like almost 50-50 tree fern to pond with some perlite in it, and just see how that works because my friend Owen was talking about how he's been like doing that mix for his most difficult anthurium and he's been having really good success with it. So maybe I'll give that a try. Okay, this next one is a problem. Okay, let's try to, oh no. Oh no, 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 no. I did not know it had put out a leaf and it's so, can you see? It was like kind of, oh no. This does not feel good. I don't know if you could see it when I was unfurling it, but this was like curled up underneath an older leaf. So this plant is at the very back of my tent. It is behind that Mancris Carla and behind my Carla. And so like I can barely even see it. And so sometimes I've been really behind on the watering. This plant needs to be cut back severely. Oh, but what I was saying is like this, oh, this petiole is so freaking thick. This was like curled up underneath it, but look at the leaf. It's not like emergent leaf soft. This is dead, like dying leaf tissue, but I've never had a leaf do this. And I'm wondering if I accidentally left it to completely dry out and then I just watered it really deeply when like I watered it 2 days ago, because this has a lot of water in it. The roots look quite healthy. So I'm wondering if it was just like so dry. I don't know. So this one I've been putting off for a really long time, but I think I'm gonna have to basically cut it back to almost nothing, which is a little bit sad, but this is just atrocious. So it's a little bit sad, but I'm going to cut it back and this is probably not gonna live in my tent anymore just because it got so big. So once it puts out its next leaf, it's gonna be a problem anyway, just like height wise. So I'm gonna find another place for it and I'm gonna clean up all the cobwebs as well. So this plant, basically it made berries. It's the mom to this hybrid. So cute. One of my favorite hybrids I've ever done. Not that I've done very many, but it made berries and then it just been neglected ever since then, which I'm really, I feel really bad about, but we're going to hopefully get it looking nice again. Hopefully by the end of summer, it'll put out a nice strong leaf. I'm also going to cut off, I'll just show this leaf to you now so you can see it better. I've literally never had this happen. I'm gonna guess that it's a watering issue because it's not really a pest issue. Sometimes when you have like like a really curled up fresh leaf, and then it starts to die and you open it up and it's like all thrips inside, but it's not thrips. I don't think I have thrips in the tent, knock on wood. I haven't seen any evidence of thrips. Sometimes I also think that like the spiders, there's always at least one spider living in my tent in my Millsbow, and they're probably doing their part in maintaining the pest population, so they must have something to eat. But what are they eating? I probably won't repot it for now. I'm just gonna let it grow another leaf. I'll give it, I don't know, I'll give it a medium light situation. I don't want to repot it while it's like acclimating or just in such a rehabby state. But I think more than 10 conditions, this needs room to grow. So this one is being evicted. And then the last plant down in this row is my Magcuna, which probably would like a bigger pot because there's a lot of roots in this little 4-inch pot. It just put out this leaf, which is getting a little bit bleached, so it's like growing out this way from the tent, and there's a light right here, and it's kind of a little bit close. This one's not a Kuna, it's a Kuna hybrid, it's only 50% Kuna. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Kunas are like a very understory plant and it doesn't like a lot of light. Or I guess I should say it doesn't need a lot of light in order to grow well and can also look a lot nicer in lower light. But I also think that this one maybe needs to live in higher humidity. I've never tried to grow it in ambient, but it's getting a little bit big. Now I'm trying to see if I should cut it back out. I might cut off this leaf here down at the bottom. And then I'm gonna have to do this shelf by shelf. So I'm gonna have to clean this shelf, put all the plants back, and then move on to the next shelf because like there's just no space for all my tent plants to be in this room. But I just want to quickly show you before I throw this out. Here are all of the leaves we chopped off just now. I always feel bad destroying a spider's home. By the way, I read this thing. You know how like people, instead of killing spiders, they do like the humane thing and catch it and then bring it outside. But I also read that the spiders that live in our homes are not adapted to live outside. So by putting those ones outside, they can't survive in the wild. Can anybody like verify whether or not that's true? Because I don't even really do that. I just let them live and I just get rid of the ones that I see that are already dead, and then I just clean up their cobwebs. I think the only reason why I may kill a spider, and this is not really the case here where I live, but if it was like it could kill me, if it's the kind of spider that could kill me, that would be the only time I would exercise self-defense. Oh, there's a big spider here. Oh, I just killed your home. Just goes to show how long it's been since I've seen the back of my tent, because it's just spider city back there. These are the times where I just thank my stars that I'm not scared of spiders, because I think that life would be kind of rather difficult to navigate if I had what's the arachnophobia. So it's like clean-ish. So we're gonna start putting things back kind of where they were to begin with, I guess. So the BVAP goes all the way back here. This thing is blocking it, but can you see? It's just right in the corner, which I think is possibly the lowest light in the tent. I don't know why I have propped up. Is it because I can see it better? There was a reason for that. And then the Spider Ralph man always lived here, and since it's growing, let's not break what's not broken. The RA5 Swamp Bunny goes back here. Let's put the red crystal back. So let's maneuver this inflow. I want to say that that's not too much light for it because it's right in front of this bar, but this bar is pointing downwards and it's always been living like right here. And then a lot of the little guys will just go back in here where they were before, but I couldn't even see them most of the time. I can only see like what's here, but everything here was covered in big leaves. This Magcuna, I just have to see if it's too tall. It is too tall. Maybe the RA5 Swamp Bunny can go here. And then the Magcuna can go back here. So the Carla Wu2 Self used to live here, but now it has more room. It's not getting smushed. The Mag Chris Carla could possibly go here. I don't think this leaf is going to straighten out. I think it's always going to be a bit like that, but oh well. There's a ton of space in between each plant now. And then I can put, I want to keep an eye on this path because it's been kind of fungally. Okay, I think this works at least for now. Maybe it can be styled a little bit further, but this is what we're working with for the bottom shelf. You can see so much space in between each plant, which is exactly what I wanted to accomplish. I feel like this shelf was the most challenging because it had the most plants, and I think this works. Now on to the second shelf. So this one is also very overgrown, but it has its own challenges because like there's breeding going on here. Okay, so let's take the biggest mama out first. So this is my Carla Woo One Cell, and it has really gotten super large. It also is very ugly right now. Again, it's really hard to say, is it because it's produced berries and it's now again producing berries? Like this is where we're at with the current batch. It's flowered again. There's 2 flowers on it. It's really hard to say, but I think we can remove, well, we can definitely remove this. And maybe we can remove a couple of leaves that are like this, which are mostly yellow. Oh man. You know what I just realized? I cleaned this little plexi thing that was supposed to go under all of those plants. So you know what? We'll deal with that after filming. I'm gonna have to pull everything out and then like put that shelf in. Anyways, I will remove this leaf right here. I would love to remove more, but I'm just afraid of like the berry health suffering because of it. You know, it might not. That's just my paranoia, and I'm just not experienced to know whether it will or not. So this kind of damage on the leaves where it's like partly crispy, I think it's quite common when a plant is producing berries. It's just pulling a lot of nutrients back in to promote berry growth. I think that does happen quite a bit, but this kind of thing, I'm stumped on. It's very rusty fungal. I mean, I know that it's fungal issues. I just don't know what the underlying issue might be that's weakening the plant to fungal issues. But it did put out this leaf and it's still expanding. But I think we're going to leave it at that. If it wasn't producing berries right now, I would be a lot more ruthless with it. But right now, we just need to be kind to her. Now this one, this is my quote unquote contaminated Carla. This is this newest leaf that was completely covered up. The color, the pink is still there. Can you see the pink in the sinus? It's been hardened off for a while, but this one was being covered by the Carla, so I haven't really taken a good look at it. This one is not producing berries, so we can be a little bit ruthless with the leaves. So a couple things we need to do with this. We need to cut leaves off, and then we need to collect the pollen off of this. We are going to cut off everything that's a little bit ugly, a little bit fungally. This is the same thing that was on the Carla. Maybe I'll cut some leaves off the back too. And we'll just leave a couple of nice ones. Oh, it's so pretty, this new leaf. I can't get over the colors. It's so dark. It's so dark and the veins are so minimal, but it's just like a baby pink color. I love this plant so much. Yeah, we definitely need to breed this. I would love to self this plant actually. So maybe I'll collect the pollen and then put it on itself next time it flowers, which will be soon. Okay, now we're down to 2 leaves. This leaf is totally fine. Still super clean. It's still a pretty new leaf, but this leaf just needs a little bit of a wipe down. There's like hard water stains on it, which I don't know if just water will get it off, but at least the dust will come off. I'm actually very pleasantly surprised that this leaf stayed so dark because it was basically touching the grow light. Oh, I'm just looking at the viewfinder right now. And it just looks so black. The colors are so beautiful. And I wish you guys could see it in person because it's just so matte, like it almost like absorbs light. There was something else I need to do with it. Oh, the pollen. I'm actually really excited to do this because it's the first time I'm going to be putting pollen into my little pollen box from Carson, which I will link this in the description, this little pollen box. I think he has orders coming out of his ears right now. But he is selling them on Palm Street. But if you're not on Palm Street or not in the US but want to order from him, I think he won't be mad in me saying that you should just DM him on Instagram. Anyways, I have a piece of A4 paper. This is not A4. This is half of an A4 piece of paper. And then I'm just going to fold it in half. So this is like my little catcher. I have a clean plant tag. So I'm just going to lay the spadix across and then gently, I'm not trying to like scrape pieces of the actual spadix. I'm just trying to get the powder off. You can do this with a brush. It'll be softer. So I'm just like dragging it across, right? I'm not pushing it and scraping per se. I'm just like putting it against the spadix and then scraping it across. So the friction is kind of dislodging the pollen. It's falling down. And then every now and then you can kind of tap the spadix and then more pollen will come off. And this is enough to pollinate 2 plants with. So maybe this one can be used on itself. And I still want to do one with the Woo One Carla. That was a pairing I had attempted, but it didn't take, unfortunately, but I do want to try it again. So this is all the pollen I collected. And then I'm just going to tip it into the centrifuge tube. Can also use a plant tag to kind of guide it down. And there is my pollen. And I'm going to put it into slot number 1. I do not have a dry erase marker, so I'm just going to make a note in my phone, and this thing is going straight back to the freezer. This is my first entry to the pollen box, which is quite exciting. I was meaning to collect pollen off my Fort Sherman Ralph Lynam Carla dress. I just need to give that plant a nickname, but I was going to collect that. I think that's the only pollen I need to collect this round. Okay, so this plant is done. This is Fort Sherman Ralph Lynam, aka the pollen parent to my little hybrid. Well, here's the leaf we can get rid of. This is quite a slow growing plant for me. And I want to say, like, I got it from my friend Jose, and I want to say it didn't grow as slow for him. So I'm contemplating changing up the substrate for it. Either tree fern pond or pond. Because he used to grow it in pond, but straight up like pure lechuza pond, unamended with anything. I haven't decided yet, but I think I'm going to be doing that. I think I'm going to reserve that for one of my, I feel like this is a nice candidate for one of my late night private unfilmed repotting sessions. This is Pat Port. This hybrid was done by Teo, but I got this plant from Amanda. This was the stump that I kept because I sold the top cutting, and it's like sizing down. I'm not really sure why. You know what? We're not going to dwell on it. We're just going to, but the leaves aren't yellowing. We're going to leave it. We're just going to leave it. The main thing I find with like trying to get yourself out of planting slump, whether it be like a bad season and you're feeling discouraged or you're actually burnt out from your collection. Okay, I get this question every time I open up my question box, and there's at least like a few questions on like how I deal with plant burnout, like what do you prioritize? And it's always just water. Water like as on time as you can. If you can fertilize, then great. If you can't even like fathom putting in the energy to like fertilize your water and then water your plants, just water. That's all you need to do. Pests is a different thing. If you're dealing with pests, I would just start chopping leaves off rather than like taking the time to like wipe everything down. Because once you have pests that you can notice, then it's already too late because it's already ugly. So you may as well just cut it back. This plant is also quite ugly right now. It's like an unknown PAP hybrid, which I thought was maybe PAP with like a dress hybrid maybe, but I don't know. I have no clue what this is. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so if you're going through some depression, if you're going through health issues, if you're going through like really busy periods, just water when you can, and that's it. That's the bare minimum you have to do. Once you have the capacity to do a little bit more intensive plant care, then I would prioritize going through everything and being really ruthless about getting rid of stuff that maybe don't bring you, it's not serving you the way that a plant needs to earn a place in your collection. The practice of maintaining this ebb and flow of like being able to maintain your collection and then being like kind of feeling overwhelmed by your collection, it will come and go always. It's like, I feel like you're never going to get to a place where it's like always easy unless you force yourself to only have like 20 plants, which I think a lot of us as collectors, we just love more plants than we can actually take care of. What I'm trying to say is like, it's a long-term project of knowing your boundaries and knowing your limits and then trying to stay close to or below that at all time. Below is better because you give yourself a little bit of buffer. It also means making sure that you have some sort of an outlet to get rid of plants too. So whether that be a like, I don't know, buy nothing group or a local plant group you can sell on, or a neighbor or family member you can give plants to. Things like that where you know that if you needed to get rid of a plant, like let's say it's a healthy plant, doesn't have pests, maybe it's a little bit ugly, but doesn't have pests that you feel comfortable giving to somebody, then knowing you have somewhere for it to go does help. I wish I had a great example, but at the end of the day, where it's something that looks like it just needs a lot of work to get back to healthy again, or is on the brink of dying and needs a lot of TLC, and you don't care about that plant, it's okay to throw it out. I don't think that we should get in the habit of like buying and throwing out, buying and throwing out, but sometimes it is okay to throw out a plant. I don't think that this would be a candidate for throwing out. This one just grew into the top shelf again, like a lot of these plants. It is putting out a leaf, and I do want to prop it possibly, but I just chopped off a bunch of leaves and I'm gonna put it back and wait for this next new leaf before I do anything, I think. And the last plant is my annoying ass green form Ace of Spades, which just put out a leaf. It's like, hey, I'm not that annoying. Granted, usually when a new leaf comes out, the older leaves are looking way worse than this. This is actually the most recent leaf before that, and then this is the one before it. But usually this like yellow halo is a lot stronger than this. I think I'm gonna leave this one as is. And now we can clean this shelf. A lot less spiders on this shelf, I will say. I think this is one thing that's so great about anthuriums is because like you can just chop all the leaves off and leave the stem, and the whole plant itself doesn't look weird. Like this plant. I chopped off all the leaves and left the newest one on, and it looks great. It looks a little bit unnatural, like how did it just grow one big leaf like that? But other than that, like visually, it looks nice. I think the hardest part about purging, I find, is that a lot of people, when they get into a genus, for example, or they just get into plants in general, and then they collect a whole bunch of plants, and then they've never gotten rid of a plant before, it's like the getting rid of the first plant that's the most difficult, because like I do this too. You sign some sentimental value, you sign it to a very emotionally charged time in your plant journey where you are getting really excited about plants, and you feel bad because, oh, like I was so excited when I got this plant, and like how could I just get rid of it now? Like how could I, you almost feel like a hypocrite. But I can tell you, of all the plants that I've gotten rid of, and I've like also purged out entire genera of plants from my collection. Like I no longer grow epipremnum, I no longer grow scindapsus. I have like 2 philodendron left in my collection. Certain plants that I know that like the growth habit or like the care doesn't jive with my style of plant parenting. Like I can't even think of a certain plant where I was like, man, I wish I kept that, or like, oh, I missed that plant ever since. Like I don't think I even think of that plant after I sell it or whatever. I feel like the only plants that I ever think about in that way are plants that like it was out of my control, like it died and I missed that plant, but I didn't intend to get rid of it. It just died and I couldn't save it. One plant I do miss, and I don't even think that things could have gone any differently. Like if I got that plant again now, I feel like I'll kill it again. And that's the Homalomina, I don't know what they call it now, Red Sumatra. I'm gonna put a photo right here. This is like a photo I took of my plant and it was doing so well. But Homalomina for me are a little bit difficult to figure out. Like, oh my gosh, are they like super swampy plants? I don't know. I think that one I let dry out, like 100% dry out, and then it just never recovered. And I have heard that they're quite difficult, and I don't even see them for sale ever. I've not once seen it for sale since I lost that one. And I probably would have been into the thought of like possibly replacing it. That's the only plant that ever comes to mind when I think of like a plant that got away. I'm gonna put this leaf in front of the shelf so it's not directly touching the grow light. Oh, isn't that looking so much better already? The only thing is now we have to put in the very crusty looking Carla that we can't cut back. How did I even have this before? I feel like this leaf was like fully covering the NSC Carla's leaf. I don't know, what a shame. This leaf was so pretty. Oh, we'll figure it out later. I'm honestly thinking of like doing a big off-camera reshuffle of like between the tent and the ambient, and then doing like a little tour of the new styling arrangement, the new homes for all the plants. I don't know if you guys would like that. Let me know. If you made it this far in the video and you would like that, please let me know. So now the bottom level is done and then this level is done. I still have this top level to do, which honestly is not as difficult as the bottom level for sure. The bottom level had the most cutting back to do. So I'm gonna do the top level off camera because it's a little bit hard to get that angle. And then I'm going to show you the finished result in like 1 second. Okay, we're back. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulder. Like there's just so much light emanating from this tent now, and I don't remember the last time that it looked like this. It's not perfect yet, and it's gonna need like shuffling around as new leaves come in, but I'm gonna show you the whole thing now. I'm not gonna go through every single plant, but I'm gonna go through like section by section with you. But first, I just wanna show you 2 plants that also got evicted from the tent. So before the last cut, the only plant that had moved out of the tent was the Pap RA5. The second one, and this one's a little bit nerve-wracking, but my Dark Phoenix. So this plant, if you'll recall, got really big and then started to get really ugly. And I think it's because it had been living in the same glass vessel for probably closing in on 2 years. So I chopped it a few times and then I repotted it back into the same vessel, but in brand new pon. This is my old pon mix, so it's lechuza pon, orchiata, and a ton of perlite. And then it put out 3 leaves since the chop. So this leaf, I believe, maybe this leaf was already on the plant. This might have been the top leaf. And then it was this one. And then the last leaf, I honestly didn't expect it to get this big, but it's too big. Like it's pushing into the ceiling of the tent, and without like taking away shells, it's just too large for the tent now. But unsurprisingly, since it was in pon and my Dark Phoenix, at least I can say for my specimen specifically, loves pon. It actually has roots like flying out the top. I probably should, I don't think, yeah, this one in particular, I don't know if you can see, it goes down to the bottom. It ends right here. So I don't think I'm going to be able to, maybe I can bury it somewhat. Yeah, actually, I think I can do this and then just like throw a bunch more pon on top. So I'm going to move things around back there in ambient and find a spot for my Dark Phoenix. But this leaving the tent left so much room, which I'm going to show you in a second. The other plant that I moved out is this plant. It's my own, no, one of 2 begonias I own, and this is Begonia Labersii, which I just staked. So I had a little short stake here from when the plant was this tall, and I just added this really tall one. So it's kind of growing freestyle, and the thing I really wanted to achieve with this plant was to lose the silver spot. So it's actually starting to lose the silver now. The size of the leaf isn't increasing. It's like the same size as this leaf, which is very, very silvery. So if you don't know this begonia, the more mature it gets, the less silver it becomes. So eventually it will just be like almost black and like really long daggers. But for some reason, mine is not sizing up. So I figured it probably could live in ambient now. Like I at one point, this plant was really difficult for me outside of high humidity enclosures, but I feel like at this point it's big enough, and maybe I'll chop and prop it a little bit more. I'm not quite sure yet. I might take the top cutting, root it, and then like try to see if I can get it to size up while maintaining the low silver. I'm not really sure. But it was taking up so much room in here, and it was in this corner, and it was kind of growing up this way, going that way, and going this way in 3 different directions. So this is the third plant I moved out, but I'm going to show you now what the tent looks like. So just as a reference, I just want to show you the footage of the shelves before we started this whole thing. And here is what it looks like now. This side of the tent did not change too much because I've been shuffling this around pretty frequently. This shelf in particular, without the Dark Phoenix, there's honestly so much empty space, so much light. You can actually see the plants that are in the back grid there, which I previously couldn't. This shelf is more empty, but honestly, these plants are too big to be living here. I'm not ready to move them out into ambient yet. So this shelf didn't transform as much. When I was working on this off camera, I did move all the plants out again, put the plexi layer back onto the shelf. So I don't know if you can see it, but there's plexi down there. This shelf, I feel like, is the biggest transformation, and I can actually see every single individual plant, which makes me so, so happy. And in between each plant, there's so much empty space. So as they grow bigger, there is that buffer for them to grow bigger without having to move out. The only thing I'm not sure of is this Magcuna. I'm not sure if it will live here permanently, but this Carla Lux has tons of space. The Meg Chris Carla may be a problem with the next leaf. We shall see, but let's just let it rehab a little bit after I lose all of its leaves. And then yeah, back there, there's room. Back here, there's room. There's nothing in that one spot that the Paparia 5 used to live in. I did pull the pollen off of this plant, as I mentioned I would. It's in the pollen box now, so that box can now go into the freezer. By the way, if you watched my, was it last week's? Yeah, it was last week's video. Charmaine came by with her specimen of the same seed batch, so different specimen, same seed batch, and we put the pollen from hers onto mine. And when I was taking the pollen off of this, I was noticing all the individual flowers. A lot of them are protruding and turning green, which even though it has these like purple, like splotchy bits, I feel like it may have taken. I just don't know if it will go all the way to full berry. But I also know that these purple splotchy bits are kind of species dependent, and sometimes it'll happen, not necessarily a bad thing. But all that said, I'm not sure if this plant is big and healthy enough to be a strong mother, but we shall see. It's not impossible. So if I back up as far back as possible, here is what the tent looks like now. Oh my gosh. I can look at this now and not feel stressed. Like I just feel serene. Actually, I feel excited for the new growth I'll be coming in the spring. And I'm just so happy we did this today. It was exactly what I needed to kind of restart my motivation for plant care. Anyway, I am freaking starving. I'm going to end this here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and also thank you for everyone who like behind the scenes has been messaging me. I know since like a few months ago I've been kind of like withdrawing a little bit on social media as I'm just going through stuff. Like I'm just letting myself feel my feelings and go through the process of grieving. I know like a lot of you are going through a lot of very similar things, and I feel very comforted knowing that we're all kind of here for each other in some little way. I hope that brings them peace. Also knowing that, I don't know, like there's someone who is thinking about them and like is sending loving thoughts towards them in these kind of sad times. So I don't really know what else to say, but just thank you guys, even when you guys didn't know what was going on, but you were sending such loving thoughts and comments and words. So thank you so, so much. But anyway, I don't want this video to be a bummer. I just want to say, if you take anything from this video, it's first of all, no plant is worth more than your well-being. Cut yourself some slack. And if you've been meaning to visit that one person or multiple people, go visit that person, call them, FaceTime them. Anyway, I hope your weekend has been peaceful and lovely, and thank you guys again so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Mwah.